Hello, welcome. We are on episode 13. And hi, Michelle. How are you over there?
Hi, Desiree. Good. How are
Good.
you?
I'm good.
It's been a while.
We missed last week because my in-laws are in town and visiting, and we've been gallivanting around. And what did we do we went to an Oktoberfest, although it's not October. I don't know why they do that. We went to an air show. We hung around, and then today, Michelle, it's so cool. You have to visit here. So 10 minutes from our house is a Cuyahoga Valley Scenic Railway, and it goes through the national park on a train. So we did that this afternoon and went on a train and got to see the national park, and it was beautiful. They're leaving tomorrow, so we'll get back on track. But I love having my mother-in-law here. I love her. She's sweet and always supportive. And my JR and I have been married 17 years. And what I always appreciate about her is she never interjects her thoughts on what we should do on our life or decisions we should make. She's always just supportive, because I know a lot of people have challenges with their in-laws, wanting to give them their opinion, or you should do this or that. And she's always just very loving and supportive. So how are you doing over there?
I love that. I have a similar relationship, I believe, with my mother-in-law. Um, she's so helpful with the kids, and she's the one that watches them while I go to work to help support us. When me and Mariano were dating, she would ask me, when are you gonna have some, and some kids. And first of all, I was surprised that she said that, because Mariano already has had some kids. And I told her that wasn't in my plan, because this was like 10 years ago when I was not mentally prepared. And um, she was like, she really wanted me to have her son's babies, I think, because she asked me a few times, and she said that she would help with the kids if we did decide to do that. And I mean, here we are, and two babies later, and I call her mommy number one, and I'm mommy number two. uh but yeah, she's so helpful, and she doesn't, especially because she is so involved with the kids, she does not tell me
Right.
anything. I mean, she does to a point, because she's watching them, but she is not, you need to raise them a certain way or anything like that. She just tells me how the kids are, and her telling me confirms what I'm seeing, and we're just like, we bond in that way, and it's a very, very beautiful relationship. And also with my father-in-law, he's wonderful too, and loves me. And um on Father's Day, he's not a drinker, but on Father's Day he had a couple beers, and he just he just gave me love, and he's like, I love you, daughter-in-law. I'm like, oh, I love you too. So it's a beautiful, wonderful relationship. I'm very, very lucky to have such positive influences, because
We're
they're positive, they're are what we're growing up to. They're our parent-in-laws. They're not just in-laws, they're our spouse's parents, which are also our parents in a way. So I'm very lucky.
we both looked out there, because I hear horror
Yes.
stories about in-laws. So for both of us to love her,
Yes.
yeah. After Daddy died, I I talked to JR's dad and was like, "You're the only dad I have now." Like
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
I cherish my relationship with both of them. It's good.
Yeah. Oh, that's not funny, but that's funny because I had the same conversation with my husband's dad,
Oh,
and he like was so honored for me to say that.
yeah,
And he said, "I yes, I am. I will be. Yeah."
that is sweet. Very
Hmm.
sweet. Yeah, so I'm ready for a nap, actually. Tired. It's been a lot of fun. They've been here a week. Oh, big news. I got to check something off on my bucket list, which I talked about bucket list a few episodes ago, and I'm all about
Yes.
dreaming and wanting to do things. And so for Mother's Day, my husband got me an extreme experience is what the thing is called. And I got to drive a race car. And I did that a few days ago. It was exhilarating. Although on our way there, I told JR, I said, I'm not nervous at all. Like I said the car went 195 miles per hour, the top speed. I said the only thing I'm nervous is that I'm not going to go as fast as I could because any
Right.
race car, like I'm don't want to be reckless.
Right.
I want to drive really, really, really fast.
Yeah.
So we get there and we have to do this like 25-minute training course. I was not nervous at all. And then so we're sitting in there with all these other people, and then they're they're like, all right, here's a race course, and then you're gonna have an instructor sitting in the car with you, and then you gotta watch the hand signs. And when he does this, it means go, and when he does this, it means stop, and when it does this, it means move over. And then there's these cones, and the yellow cones is this, and the red cones and the orange cones. And then I was like, okay, now I'm scared. Like I wasn't scared before, but now I'm feeling super nervous. Oh, but so it was fun. It was like a technical course, so it wasn't like a straightaway where I could go 150 miles per hour. I
Oh.
wanted to do. There was all these like turns and stuff, and so I think I topped out like at 95 or something. It wasn't even.
Oh.
So now I know. Now I'm gonna start like chasing extreme experiences where I really want to drive like a
Just
hundred.
go straight.
Yes,
Just
like
go straight. 200 miles. Yeah.
exactly right. So that's still on my bucket. I did drive a race car, so apparently I need to make my goals a little bit more specific. I thought driving a race car was mean you get to go really fast, but apparently not. Not if the course is like doesn't allow for that. I just
Have turns.
yeah.
Yeah.
She said one of the professional driver. I asked. She said one of the professional drivers topped out at 108. So that is as fast as anyone went on that course. So I was like, bummer. Anyways, it was a fun experience. But one of the things that the instructor said, rule number one, keep your eyes ahead. They said, don't look off to the side. Don't look at anything. You need to keep your eyes down the road ahead. And I was thinking about that, I mean, just thinking about life, like how that is so indicative of life. You need to keep our eyes like on the goal, on the prize, on the whatever, because if we shift our eyes off to the side, it can totally derail us. And
Yes.
I don't know. I just had that like it was a beautiful life lesson amongst my race car experience.
I love that. What did you, so you thought of it as a life thing. Wait, first the race car. Okay, what car was it?
It was a Nissan GTR.
Okay, those are, I know exactly what kind of car you're talking about.
It was like one
Yeah.
of the cheaper ones, which was still expensive, but they had Ferraris and Porsches and Corvettes and like all these really, really nice cars and I know you're a car person. I don't really care. I mean, they're all nice cars. I don't care about that. I just wanted speed. So, anyways,
Yeah, and so now you're adding to your bucket list to go. Okay, let's be specific.
yeah,
How
smart
fast do
goals.
you want to go?
We
How
need to,
fast do you want to go?
we
You
need a,
did your race car name. You did your race car. Now, how fast do you want to go? How fast do you want to feel on that road?
we need a smart goal here. Apparently, the things I added to my bucket list were not smart. It needs to be
It's smart. It happened. It did it. Yeah, we got to be specific.
measurable, attain, whatever the.
Yeah.
I found all the different acronyms for a smart crew. Yeah, 150. I'd be plus. I'd be happy to go minimum 150.
Minimum 150.
Yeah, that's why I told Jer. I'm like, well, now we know. Whenever I do want to go again at some point. No rush. Bucket list is not a rush here, but now I need to figure out how to drive
Yeah.
150.
I've never driven one. I've driven 120, but not 150. That
Yeah,
must, oh yeah,
exactly.
awesome. Yes,
Hey,
it's so exciting.
I drove. I when I was like 20 or 21, I drove like a little over 100. I had just bought a brand new car, a Hyundai Elantra, and I was driving home.
Yes, I remember.
Oh my gosh. I was driving home from daddy's house back to San Diego, and there's that whole straightaway, and I was like 90, 95, 100, and then the freaking police lights went on behind me, and I got
Oh
it
no.
was a super expensive ticket, and I just want to drive the
Oh.
ticket. Just my
Yes, we are all these things we're not promoting for you guys to do right now in this conversation.
yes.
I drove from San Diego to our dad's house in the Inland Empire, which is like an hour 20 minutes from where we used to live. I had a Mustang at the time. No, it was a Camaro. I had my Camaro. It was a V6. It wasn't a V8. It wasn't. It was a bigger engine V6, but it was not the V8 because I couldn't afford it. I was 18 at the time or 19, and I drove with my best friend to his house within 40 minutes because I drove, like I said, 120. It was the best feeling, and it. But okay, I was 18, 19 thinking you're invincible, that nothing can happen. And that is very, very dangerous. Do not do this at home, okay? I Horrible things could have happened. I just thank God that nothing did. Not even police lights, thank God. But yeah, I know what that feels like, and it feels so you're almost fine. Okay. It's a great feeling.
Yeah.
So I hope you feel that one. I hope no, it's gonna happen. Add it back to your bucket list, but be more specific.
I thought driving a race car was specific, but apparently what racetrack it's on and Max, I don't know. Now I know.
I think they have those near Vegas because they're
Yes,
just straight.
they
Yeah.
do. And I think it's the extreme experience I want. That's what they said. There's one in Vegas that is like a super track. They call it a super track or something where you can go fast. Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Next year or two when it
Nah,
happens.
moving on.
Yeah. Moving on. So you were saying the rules of what they said to keep your eye on the road, and
Number
then
one.
you thought of it of life. So can you talk more about get more in depth on that?
Well, like in the Bible, it tells like we need to keep our focus on Jesus. We need to keep our eyes on the big picture and not get caught up on the little things in life because it's
Yes.
easy to get swirled up in this or that or comparisons or ingratitude or wanting more or wanting
Yeah.
different or things aren't good enough or but we need to look at like focus on what's really important, the big picture. So I think I'm a few episodes ago,
Mhm.
I was talking about me being in the thick of self discovery and counseling. And that is one of the things that we're talking about. We just talked about on Friday, a 2 hour session about limiting beliefs. And, you have these limiting beliefs that are formed along the way and breaking out of it. Like I've identified my limiting beliefs, but now breaking out of it is so hard to think about things differently and how I was thinking before. So yeah, so I'm right in the process of that in therapy right now. about like identifying what, and it took a few months for me to even realize what those limits, they're like deep in there. They're like subconscious ways that we think and act that we're not even aware of until we do
Yeah.
like the hard work to figure out what are my limiting beliefs and how am I, one of the things my counselor continues to say is like our brain just tries to keep us safe, and you have these limiting beliefs, and so your brain is trying to find all the things to prove that you're correct, prove that
Yes.
limiting beliefs are true. Your brain doesn't want to make you a liar, so you believe like, oh, I don't deserve this, or oh, I am worthy. Then you're gonna find those things and attract it. Like believe and receive, seek and you shall find, and you're gonna unintentionally like
Self-sabotage.
self sabotage without even knowing it. Yes.
Yes. Yes. I 100% agree with that. And I've noticed I've done that to myself my whole life. And especially if I sit now and just think back of my whole life, I feel like everything that's happened, I've created that without even knowing, um, the good and the bad. And I created that. And then people think, oh, you're talking nonsense that we create our realities, but we really do. Our reality is what's in our head, and it happens. We make it happen. When I was just new adult, was that 20
Baby,
21?
baby.
Yeah. um I I'm sure a lot of us go through this, but I thought I was the only one. I had such strong limiting beliefs, and I wasn't in therapy to uh bring it out, or look deeper to for me to change it. And I did so many irresponsible things, driving fast. But no, I did so without like having no clue. And then when I had suffered the consequences, I was like, you see, I suck. I'm not good enough. That limiting belief that started way back when I was put in a closet when I was 4 or 5 4. um I made I made decisions, and then it proved to me, you see, I'm the victim. I'm a victim. Everything's happening to me. And instead of like, no, I can make different decisions, and prepare more, or whatever it is. I can one of the things was, um I I was working full time, and not going to school yet, for engineering. I was just working, and learning to manage money like that. It's not really taught. And well, I didn't learn how to manage money. And um I was getting paid like $600 every 2 weeks. And I was trying to budget without knowing the budget, and I would overdraft on my account because I didn't know how to do it. And then I'm like, you see, everything's happening to me. Like I was a victim, instead of like, no, I can take control of this. I was always, oh me, oh poor me, and confirming that I'm not good enough. I can't handle life. I can't do this. Um, that's just one small example of many things that I done in life. That I mean, you make mistakes, but you learn from them, not dwell in them and say I'm the victim, and oh poor me, and oh, you're you're learning to navigate life. You're learning your But I didn't see it that way, and so I made myself miserable of my thoughts, of confirming what I believed in, and of me and myself. And um if I knew that I could not think that way, um And if someone tells you just don't think that way, you can't just not think that way. You need help. You need redirection. You need guidance. And
Rules.
um, I didn't have that. And I'm not saying that as for me, and I'm not saying that as I wish it was different, because I had to learn.
Right.
I had to learn, and because of all that, that's why we're doing this, so we can talk about our struggles and what we've learned and what we're struggling with now, and how we can people know they're not alone. And that was a lot.
Michelle, thank you. I think about today, actually, we were on the train and my daughter had a soda on the table and knocked it over. And she was like, see, I do this all the time. I'm so clumsy. I always mess up. And I was like, daughter of mine, it was just an accident. It happens to everybody. It doesn't.
Yeah,
So, some parents might, and that's where these things start growing, is like, oh, so you did it again, how
yeah.
come you always mess up, or
Uh,
all.
that may have happened one time, and that replays in our head.
Yes, right.
And I mean, she's spilled things probably 20,000 times in her life, but that one time where it happened in a not right moment and
Yeah,
someone said something, it didn't even have to be parents, it could have been at school or something. It's stuck in there, and now she's clumsy forever. And
always does things
that's how she'll see.
right.
Yeah,
That's why I wanted to bring
exactly.
that up, is how these things can take root. And I
Yeah.
had this beautiful image a couple weeks ago with my counselor. I wrote it down. I don't have it here, but it was like I'm chopping down my faulty thought trees and replanting seeds of truth. Like, that's my process right now. Like, I have a view of things that are completely wrong or skewed, or and now I'm in the thick of it, and it's so hard because our default thinking goes to, whatever. And now it's renewing my mind, and God tells us to do that often as well, in the Bible, is renewal of the mind. And it's so important because that's where it all starts. Like I said, the last session, it was 2 hours about the battle of the mind and how we can revert back to faulty thinking or
Yeah.
strongholds that we're challenged with, or just whatever it is. And it's hard work, but once we're aware of it, then we're aware where we can say, wait a second, no, that's not the truth, and redirect. And yes. Oh, another thing I had mentioned a little while ago was my daily affirmations, of like the things that I struggle with, of creating a list of the daily affirmations. And that has been super helpful to say every day, because it just reiterates, the truth. And so,
Can you give some examples of daily affirmations?
yeah. I have them on my cell phone right here. So,
So do you read this every morning? Like, what do you mean daily?
daily affirmations every morning.
Every morning?
My counselor um suggests it every morning and every night. So one of the issues that I have or am challenged with is sister confession. I don't want to confess. Okay. One of my issues that I'm struggling with is my husband is incredibly handy and does everything really, really well. He bakes better than me. He does laundry better than me. He provides for the family. He cleans the house. He built that chicken coop and fixes all the cars and does all these beautiful things that I have been super grateful for. But when I do something, I'm left-handed, and so that's been the joke. I break things and
Hey,
he fixes things.
I'm left-handed too.
You what?
I'm left-handed too.
Well, maybe that was my excuse to myself. I do things backwards because I'm left-handed. Maybe it's just me. um, so that's been something that when he does something right, I have been in my mind and verbally praising him, like, thank you so much for doing that. in my mind, I'm like, see, you messed up again. You don't know how to do anything right. And I've been battling that for years. I've known that, but subconsciously that has been the like the good thing is that I am praising him and acknowledging all of the wonderful things that he does and all of his talents and skills, but it shouldn't be at the cost of my worth or
Yes.
self-deprecating. And that is the minor tweak that I'm working on of like it's okay
Wow.
to praise him, but it's not, oh yeah, look at you. Thank you so much for doing all of this, Desiree, you suck. Is what I've been
Yes.
telling myself. So that's just
Wow, Desiree,
my
that is that's that is amazing. Thank you for sharing that. I have similar, very similar of what you're saying. Um, and I want you to tell us what your your affirmations. But do you have before you share that, I just have so many questions. Do you do you you're telling yourself that, but do you have of your affirmations, do you have to redirect when in the situation? So let's say he makes dinner and then you get home from work. I'm just giving you an example. uh, let's say that this just an example. You get home from work and he's there making dinner and you're like, yeah, but he worked too, and so I suck. And then I'm saying this because it's happened to me. and um and then do you then redirect and tell yourself these affirmations, or are you hoping that when you start the day with these affirmations that you don't even go there in your brain?
great question because that's like two ways to use these affirmations. I think the affirmation. So with this, I'm on a uh, it's self-awareness, self-care month, and so I unfortunately have gained like 25 pounds in the past year. So what I'm doing is I'm running up and down the stairs at home because I work from home, and every flight I tell myself the affirmation. So I'm doing
I
that
love that.
all together. So I'm going through all the affirmations. And then hopefully, when that does happen, first of all, now I know I'm aware of it. I knew I was putting myself down, but I thought that was the truth. I didn't know, I just, he's great at everything. And here I, didn't do this right or didn't do that right or broke this or clumsy or did this wrong. And so once I have all these memorized, then I can stop myself. So I think it's both what your question was, doing them daily all together, but then as these things come up, I will have them off the top of my mind, like, no. So to counter that, the affirmation is, I am I have three. I'm uniquely gifted and equipped for many things. Can you hear the air conditioner?
No.
Okay, just turned on. I am completely competent and can do things right. My best is my best, and that's always enough. So, those are my affirmations to battle my limiting beliefs or the lies that I've been telling myself, that my brain has been seeking all these examples throughout my life
Yes.
to prove that I'm right. So now
Yes.
this renewal of my mind, this retraining, this rewiring, this untangling that I am going through right now. Yes,
Thank you.
you're
Thank
welcome.
you, Desiree. Thank you for sharing that. I love that we can share our examples, this one of what you're going through, and how you're redirecting. Um, one another example I've done with my therapist through EMDR is um, going back to what started that thought. So I know through EMDR, I know what started that thought, and that was the I mentioned this I think in our first podcast of mental health for people that are just barely starting to listen. I was in like a preschool setting, and I had separation anxiety, and they put me in a closet because I cried too much instead of trying to help me. I mean, they tried to help and it didn't work, so they put me in a closet for, I don't know, the whole time I was there, like 5 hours, 4 hours. Um, and in that, I developed the thought of I'm not good enough because I'm the only one being sent away. Um, and I didn't know that I thought of myself, like, I knew those thoughts, but I didn't know it started. I didn't know. I just thought that was true, just like you're saying. But through EMDR, I learned that I created that thought, and so what I'm getting at is, um, we did an exercise of me like reliving that scene, um, through EMDR again, and but me reliving it, but with a different outcome, so that I have, yes, that reality still happened, but I can rewire my brain somewhat into, um, not having that limiting belief anymore, subconsciously, automatically, and it has helped. So what I'm getting at with you is you have that limiting belief, but it started somewhere,
Mhm.
um, to help, to try to think where it started.
Walk through it.
And not just you, not just me, everyone. They say from our first 7 years of life is where we develop who we think we are. And then the rest of those years, we're proving to ourselves we are who we think we are from 0 to 7. And now that we're an adult and we know better, it's the reframing of the mind, retraining of the mind. Because when you're little, you see things in a whole completely different way in your own perspective, and you hold on to that, and it carries on throughout your
You
life.
don't even know
So
you're holding on to it.
you
And
don't
I
even
think of
know.
how profound that was of walking through that scenario as adult Michelle, looking at little girl Michelle, like how much
Yes.
grace and love for this little girl. Like, no,
Yes.
that's not your fault. And I think
Yes.
about all the other people who have been abused and endured significant trauma and they feel bad. Like, oh,
Yes.
little kids when they have rageful parents and I shouldn't have done this, I shouldn't have done that, or it was my fault.
I
And
made them mad. Yeah.
yeah, they harbor that. It's like you're a little child. Like there's no way. So to be able to have a professional to have people walk through the trauma, to have them as an adult, it's just a different perspective on.
Yeah.
So that's a great point. I don't know where that limiting belief came from. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess I have more work,
Yeah.
much more work to do. It's
And
exhausting.
that's fine. That's fine.
Not.
That's There's no time frame. That's what I did not like about therapy, because when I asked her,
You're like
because she had
7
the
years in.
sign,
Yeah.
yeah, she had that sign, get in, get help, get out. I'm like, when does this happen? I've been here way too long. And she's like, it's different for everyone. And I didn't like that answer because I needed an endpoint.
Yeah.
And I there uh, so I don't see my therapist regularly like I did. I'm able to use the tools that she gave me throughout all those years, uh, to help me. So I'm not saying I'm cured. I'm saying now I can use it on myself. It still happens. Things still happen, but I know what to do. Versus you seeing a therapist, they are helping you with these tools that you can take on for the rest of your life. And I thought you're cured, and then you're cured. Like when I get in, get help, get on with your life. Get on with your life, mate. You don't need no help no more. But no, that's not what it means. But at least you know, you're aware now. Like things that come up now, I think deeper into it, and of the whys and all that, so that I can try to, um redirect, reframe, all of that.
Yeah.
So
And put it in its proper place, not
yes,
step in our
this is
emotions.
how it is. Yes,
Um,
this is just how it is.
my husband and I have been going to marriage counseling for I don't know, for over a year or so too. And we're in a really good spot. So I was talking with him about it. I'm like, so should we go like every 2 or 3 weeks, maybe once a month through the end of the year? And then, we can just be done. Like we have these tools. And he's like, no, he's like, maybe we could just see a counselor like once a month just to check in and make sure, just so I appreciated his like we're just keep we're doing really well and we've learned so much about different dynamics in our marriage that we had never addressed or even realized were happening, such as this one tiny little example. There are many other ones that and I had one of the podcasts before, one of the episodes before, I had talked about I was frustrated because I'm usually a very positive person, and how can my positivity not serve me? But I think, but I'm just realizing now, that yes, I was positive and grateful for him and focused on the good, but it was me putting myself down that's not too positive. So there was a dynamic about that of like, oh, he's so great because I suck or I can't do anything right or I mess things up, whatever it is. Yeah, so I appreciate that he's like, no, we could just go once a month to check in, make sure we're nothing else to talk about, and see her the next month. So
I love that. Also, you made me think of actually something I'm going through right now. Sister confession. Uh, I I mentioned before I'm on antidepressants, and part of it is you feel I want to be able to not be on it, and but I've been on it since I was 12, and I keep trying to get off it because when I'm on it, I'm like I'm okay, so I get off it. And when I say I get off it, my prescription runs out, and then I just don't refill it, and then I get down into this deep dark hole, and then I'm like, oh, okay, but it takes me to be in this hole for like 6 months before I give in and get back on it, and um, it's happening again. I'm doing it to myself again. I ran out my prescription 3 weeks ago, and I'm seeing the pattern. I've been doing this since I was 12. I'm 38, and I'm seeing the pattern. And I'm like, but no, I have all these tools and I'm breathing and I'm meditating and I didn't have those then. So I'm doing this now and it is helping, but I still see the dark clouds coming. Even though I'm doing that, I see it. I know it. And it's been 3 weeks and I'm starting to get unmotivated. I'm starting to question why I'm here, like all the things that I go through. And it just gets more intense as time goes on and I'm not on it. And it's been 3 weeks and I'm like, no, you could work through this. You don't need it. And I'm like, no, I need it. And so that's not where I'm at right now. And when I'm you made me think of that because you were saying, well, we're doing good, so
yes,
why don't we just stop?
yeah,
And then he's like, why don't we just check in once a month? And I love that you had that. So I have that in my head. You need it. And the other one, no, let's just, and
battle of the mind.
yeah. And so, I mean, I've been questioning everything. Like even this podcast, I'm like,
Everything,
I
yeah.
want to help people, but I don't, it's not in me anymore because, but I just need to get back on my medicine. But I'm like, no. Yeah.
A couple of thoughts. It's so First of all, I'm glad you're doing this podcast. Get it out of your head. Second of all, I think we're all going to hold you accountable. So next episode,
Oh no.
you have to tell us that you refilled
Okay.
it. And the third thing is it's so unfortunate that there's a stigma. There's such a stigma on mental health and medication. I think like, oh, I'm not good enough if I have to take this medication, or oh, I have to take medication, or oh, I have to see a counselor, that must mean I'm crazy, or there's still a stigma around this. Like people need, people who have high blood pressure aren't just going to take the like, oh man, I'm a failure, I have to take high blood pressure, or whatever the medication is. Cancer patients, any kind of physical health condition, we don't think twice about it. Antibiotics, we just take it because it helps us heal, or we need it for the long term, depending on what the health. But with mental health medication, there's more of a stigma on it. Like, oh, I have
Yeah.
to my, whatever
Yeah.
supplements. You should
Like,
call it supplements. Oh, I have to my vitamins today. You take your fish oil,
yeah.
your women's vitamin, and your, take your vitamin
Yeah.
to be healthy. There's like this stigma about it still.
And I have that. I want to be able to not need it, like in my own in my own the word willpower wants to come out, but I don't want that word. I don't know what other word to say. But in my own
Right?
um strength, in my own development of where I've been, like I want to be able to be like yes, I don't think this chemical imbalance I have, I don't think it'll ever go away, but I truly believe that I can be able to manage it without medicine. I really feel because there's I have so much to say on that. Like there's I think I've been watching too many documentaries or something on the medicine industry, on the like people need medicine, but there's people that don't and rely on medicine where you can actually just take care of yourself the right way and not need medicine.
To a
And
point.
I feel like, huh?
To a point.
To a point, but to
Most.
a big point. Like there's a lot of medications out there that we don't. The doctors just push medicine instead of, hey, here's other things you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like I can be that. I can do that. I really do feel like it's in me that I'm able to. I'm just not there yet, I guess. And I'm like, I guess I'll, since I know I'm not there, I'll refill this one and then try again when it runs out. See, this is my cycle. When it runs out, I'm gonna try it because I know I can do it. I really do. I believe I can do it. I don't have that. I and then I don't know. Is this self-sabotaging that I'm doing, or is this no? You can do it. Believe in yourself.
Well,
But
Michelle,
then I
when
wait too long, and I am self-sabotaging. My life starts crumbling, and I'm like, ah,
and you see the dark clouds
I
coming, and
do.
you're losing motivation, and I mean, the chemical imbalance is absolutely true. People have to take medications lifelong, health wise, mental health wise, physical health. But when I think about the medication, and you talking about willpower, but that's not what you want to say. You want to say like your development and your um, all that you've
Yeah.
learned and healing.
Right.
I think
Yes.
you have been taking medication for so long, so it's brought you to like baseline, I guess. But even we've been talking about it before, all those wonderful tools has brought you up so many levels. Like you saying, I love life. I never thought I would say that. Like that's because of your all the work and all of everything that you're doing to enhance your life and enhance your well-being. So that has absolutely contributed. That doesn't mean that you don't need medication. That just means that it's taking you up to the next level,
Thank you. That's very, very eye-opening for me right now. Thank you.
right? Like,
Yes. Yeah.
so I have
Like you said, it's a supplement.
supplement. Yes,
Yeah.
supplement.
Yeah.
I'm mailing you one of those daily medicine things for your supplements. I'm going to put a fish oil in every day, a women's one a day. You put your medication in there and you just take your supplements, and it's all good for your health and well-being.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's where I'm at in this. Um, I feel like I self-sabotage in that way too, and then I start seeing things in a different way because I'm not on it, and yeah.
We saw that our whole life growing up. We have an uncle with schizophrenia, and that was a battle with the family. I always remember he'd take his medication, he'd feel fine. He's like, I don't need medication. He'd go off it, and then he'd, have episodes and be very schizophrenic. And then it was like he'd be hospitalized or he'd get lost and have to whatever, and then gets on it, and then I mean, it's very
Yeah,
indicative of mental health.
that's yeah, that's what I've been doing since I've been on it. Saying I completely get it. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay. I don't need it.
Right.
But you feel you're okay because you're on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Life, the battle of the mind, that it's where it all begins. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Well, let's talk about it. Do you have anything more to say? Well, actually, I don't. What do you want to talk about?
um. So I guess how to help people, because we're talking about our struggles, but the reader let's just go back to the redirection of, so we do get in that loophole in our thoughts, and then we need to like remember you're in this loop, and to stop it and like snap out of it, and it's it's easier said than done, but if you have the tools of, hey, you're in your thoughts right now, like what I do to like reset, like I said, is I'm in that loop, and then I'm like, okay, I take a breath, and I'm like, okay, what's happening right now, to reframe, and then for reframing those affirmations of, but I'm doing my best, and the best
Is enough.
is it is enough. Like there's so many people that are not doing their best, and that so it's not enough. As we all did the best we can, not even perfect, just do the best you can. If we all did that, imagine how the world will look right now.
Right. Where they were
Just
in
do the
charge.
best you can.
Yeah.
I'm starting to say that to my son, because it used to be, you be good, and like being good is so like, just try your best. I don't say be good anymore.
Yes.
Just if you try your best, that's all you can do. Just do the best you can. We all just do the best we can.
Yes.
Yeah.
My daughter brought home a test on Friday and she got a C. I think it was like 78%. And she was like, "Oh, I got a C." And I said, "Well, did you try your best?" And she was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Then that's perfect. That you don't even worry about it. You tried your best." And she's like, "Well, I did rush a little bit. I probably should have taken more time." I'm like, "So you even learned from that?" I said, "So you did your best and you learned. So next time, do your best and take your time. And if you get a D or a C or whatever you get, it doesn't matter. It's your best and that's fine." Yeah, we were just
And yes, just do your best, and learn from it. Exactly.
from it.
Learn from what you for the next time.
Learned how you messed up doing your best and then try better next time. That should be
Yes, but don't tell yourself you suck.
oh gosh.
Reframing.
Yeah. Yeah, it is an interesting journey. So we want to hear, do you guys self-sabotage? your thoughts on limiting beliefs. Have you addressed them? Do you know what your everybody has limiting beliefs. There's no one that doesn't have any. Um, do you know what they are? Have you worked through them? We would love to have this conversation with you guys and just see where you're at. And please confess something to make me feel better about my journey, or this
Yes.
it's all about is just sharing our process and journey and hoping that it'll inspire someone, encourage someone, make
Yes.
them feel like, oh, I'm not the only one. And that's what it's about.
Yes. Thank you, Desiree.
And
It's
subscribe
been a great, huh?
and subscribe if you want notifications of our next podcast.
Yes. Subscribe in the alert.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because it'll help because I've been sending the links to people and I'm like, no, I'll still do it, but please, you subscribe, AI will automatically alert you.
Except if you have your notifications turned off. I have all my notifications turned off on everything. Actually,
So you subscribe and then you turn off your notifications.
I have notifications turned off on all the apps on my phone, so I
Mm.
don't get alerts to anything. So if you do that, then just look us up, Sister Confessions.
Yes.
All right, Michelle. Well, this was great. Let's keep this conversation going. We won't hold you to reporting back for your refill if you're not there yet. This is your process, and
Thank you.
you see the cycle happening, and I appreciate your honesty. It is vulnerable to share our challenges. It is, especially like you and I are just talking, but we're putting it out there for other people to see. It feels very vulnerable, but that's the whole point. So if you don't want me to check in next week about it, I won't. I'm asking.
Um, oh, you're asking.
Yeah.
No, check in with me. We'll tell you about it next week. I'll tell you where I'm at.
Okay. To be continued. All right.
Yeah.
Tune in next week and we're going to see where Michelle's at. All right, Michelle. Well, have a beautiful day. It was great talking with you, and we'll continue this conversation next week.
Yes.
All
Thank
right.
you, Desiree. Thank you, everyone. Bye.